Hey everyone, welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology. I'm Brighthawk, and together with Hollis Taylor, we bring you weekly astrology that's accessible, inclusive, and totally down to earth. Hollis is a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller who loves making the cosmos relatable. We're both passionate teachers who love answering your questions and helping you navigate life through the stars. Each week we start with a guided meditation to tune in to the planetary energies. Then we dive into the week's cosmic forecast, offer horoscopes for every sign, and always make time for your live questions. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, we create a welcoming space where everyone belongs. Our different perspectives and styles come together to give you a well-rounded cosmic experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology. Let's get centered, tune in, and explore what the universe has in store for us this week.
Hello, welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology Forecast. We are so happy to be here with you today, and I hope that you're doing pretty good this week, navigating the energies and the challenges as they come up. This will be the forecast for October 20th to the 26th, and we look forward to jumping into that with you today. All right, Bird Hawk, are you just about ready to kick it off with our meditation?
Yeah, I'm not.
There we go. All right.
Taking a nice deep breath and letting go of anything that doesn't serve you and help you focus in this moment.
Take this moment to take a deep breath. Take a deep, deep breath and settle into your body. Settle into your body. Allow yourself to imagine floating off into the distance, into the dark depths of space. Yourself in the depths of outer space, you recognize that not everything is as it seems. Just a moment ago, you thought there was nothing beside you, but now a three-pronged, very large fork has scooped you up and holds you, and it kind of feels like you're going backwards.
this moment. Mostly only, though, because you didn't realize it was there. It wasn't exactly as you thought it would be. And your emotions are a little unsettled. And as you're flying backwards on this very large Neptunian planet, it drops you off with a completely different perspective. And now you begin to recognize what you did not before. And as you come into that acceptance, you have time to accept the new reality as you find yourself among all of the planets in the solar system, traveling along with Mars and Mercury pushing you along. Helping you to find the confidence you need to step forward, to take that next step in life, to reestablish your action plan, to revisit that vision. You are reassured that even in that hard moment, that Neptune was leading you to exactly where you needed to be. Body, feeling more confident, more comforted in knowing where you're headed. And as you take a deep breath, you can feel your bottom on the seat, your feet, you can wiggle your toes, stretch your fingers, stretch your neck, and return to the here and now.
Thank you.
Well done, Bright Hawk. I so appreciate you taking us on that journey with Neptune. As
Yeah,
we're going on
right?
one this week with Neptune, and in the coming months, this winter, Neptune's going to take us for a little ride.
Little ride, for sure.
Part of the great reveal, which I've been talking about for weeks. That's why it's the great reveal, because it lasts a really long cycle. It's a really big cycle that we're going through this winter. We'll come out of it in 2026, in the summer of 26. I think it's actually in late summer, August. That's when we'll finally be complete. I feel like where the great reveal will be done, revealing new shit to us. And we will and we'll go, oh my gosh, I can't believe we have to go this direction. I'm not saying the direction we're going is going to be fun. I'm just saying some parts of it, I think it'd probably be mixed. It'd probably depend on your chart. As far as our government and stuff goes, could be complicated and hard, but I think we'll all get there. So
Hopefully, yes.
yeah.
Yesterday, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Do I?
Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself.
Yesterday, for a lot, all around the world, really, not just around the country, was the No Kings protest, which was definitely renewed your faith in humanity, and lots of good people out there, and lots of people coming together in a very united, loving. It was very loving. It felt like a big block party, a big street party. It was really kind of neat, and I thought it was 5,000 people, but now I'm starting to hear it was 10,000 people in Boulder, Colorado, which was pretty great. And, let us know. Did you go to a No Kings protest, and where? And any guesstimates about how many people were joining you in that showing up courageous act? I'd love to know. And it's been great to see people posting from all over the world, really. And it's a relief. It's a relief. We're not alone. We're all in this together. We're not the only ones who thinks what's going on is just fucking us crazy. And we're doing the best we can. And this is, ever since COVID, really, because that's when we started studying in a really big way. Thank God for astrology. Thank goodness for astrology. Thank Goddess for astrology. I just keep feeling like, God, I don't know how you live without astrology right now. I mean, it's scary enough. Don't you want to have some idea of the roadmap? I sure do. So thank you for joining us on Rainbow Soulstrology, because that's what it's really all about, is just sort of being all in this together and trying to be helpful in bridging the information about what the stars are saying and what it means to you, because that's really, you're the most important person in your life. And we celebrate that. So we're here to help you. And I just feel like astrology is unbelievably valuable in helping us maintain some perspective, quite frankly, how things. I very much have at different times in my life had a belief and walked around saying to myself, everything works out. It's always going to work out. It all works out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out, it's not the end, right? So let's hope that it does. It does work out, whatever that means for you. Everything will work out. It always does, one way or another. Even when it feels like it wasn't what you wanted, later, you usually figure out, wow, if that had to happen, then this wouldn't happen, then that. I think we all have a lot of experiences like that. At least I know I do. And I know Hollis does. So sometimes it takes a while, but I definitely believe that we don't suffer for no reason. When we have hard times, there's something we're supposed to learn. There's an opportunity we get to have to see things in a new and different perspective, because we usually don't get that perspective unless, something's really knocked us out of our typical, how I do it.
Right.
So this week continues the saga of the times in which we live, where, some things are as predictable as ever. We have a new moon this week, And then there's the big picture things like Neptune stepping out of Aries back into Pisces, and these are really big energies that affect all of us in ways that they're thematic. Sometimes you can't see them until you see them in hindsight and look at long views.
Right. And I think looking at Monday, so I over the weekend you've probably experienced some sort of challenge, maybe several challenges regarding maybe home or wherever Cancer is in your chart. Um, it could be about higher thinking. It could be about enlightenment. It's definitely gonna be in opposition with that Sun and Chiron. The Sun and Chiron have been in opposition pretty much all weekend. They're coming out of it at this point on Monday, but so that's probably what you had over the weekend, especially with that T square to Jupiter and Cancer, which would have kind of triggered some healing, maybe some old wounds having to be dealt with, and trying to find our way to healing. And that's why I always say, lean into where they're the middle part, because otherwise you'll just get pulled in the opposition, which is the Sun in Libra, which can sometimes be a little bit codependent, like overgiving or putting yourself last. And then it's opposite Chiron, which is in Aries, which is retrograde, which is speaking to that exact kind of energy, that codependent energy. And they're both in a square to Jupiter and Cancer. And Cancer can sometimes have that energy of overgiving too. I feel like Cancer doesn't. I think it's not that Libra does it consciously, because Libra generally wants to help people, and they just think that their needs, it's not that they're like, oh, I'm not as important as that person. It's more like, I can live with this right now. This person needs this more than I do. And it's usually more of that. That's usually what happens with the Libra. It's not like they think so badly of themselves that they put themselves last. That's kind of a illusion. Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's true, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's like Libra's like, I could do without that. Okay. And that's the Sun in Libra. And it's opposite Chiron in Aries, and it's retrograde, which speaks to what makes you do that. So there's some sort of wounding as a child. Maybe you constantly had to, especially people that had to step up and be the responsible one. If your caregiver, your parent was emotionally unstable, then you might have been the person that had to step in. And that can create a wound of always being the tough one, always being the strong one, and dismissing your needs. It can create a sort of automatic subconscious behavior of doing that. And Chiron, especially in Aries, is about establishing, like, sort of honoring who you are as an individual, honoring what your needs are, what your feelings are. But since the Chiron is retrograde, it's going to go over that part that maybe you haven't quite healed yet. And let me just say, I myself struggle with this sometimes. I don't even realize I'm doing it. And then once I realize I'm doing it, I try to not make it about the person that I've overgiven to. I just try to explain to them that it's just because I love them. And it's not exactly I wouldn't say that it's a bad trait. I just think that Libra, sometimes if you have a placement in Libra, such as the moon, such as the rising or the sun, just be aware that you might do that. So it might be more strong for those people that have that placement. And then with Jupiter and Cancer, that's where they're both in a square to Chiron and the sun. You can see that red triangle there, and it's pointing up to Jupiter, which is that kind of number 4 in that blue symbol at the top of the chart there. It's in the 8th house. Not that that applies to us reading the transits, but so you can find it there. That's Jupiter in Cancer. And Jupiter is very much about not just patriotism, it's also about a connection to where you live. Because Cancer is very much about home. It's about carrying your home on your back. It's about being at home where you are. It's about comfort because Cancer likes to hang out at home. Okay, Cancer wants to put their feet up. They want their home to be their home. Okay, like Cancer really loves their home. Home is very important to Cancer, and so if there's something at home that needs to change, then you probably need to speak to that. That's probably come up this weekend. Maybe it's had more. Maybe you've just been engaged in the protests. Maybe you don't have any placements there, but you're probably at least engaged in the protests. Considering that T square. But if you do have placements there, it would apply if you have something in Libra, something in Aries, or something in Cancer, then it's probably going to apply to you. Or all three, it will be more intense. Okay. So that's pretty much what's happened Monday. Now, the good news is that there's a lot of good things coming together this week. And that's really what a grand trine is about, right? And so Bright Hawks put this great these charts together for us. And so you can take a look that on Monday, you know that Mercury and Mars are traveling together. They're at the exact same degree in Scorpio. Mars is in its rulership in Scorpio, so it's very strong there. It can create a level of intensity that could be hard to handle. The good news is if you work at transforming it, if you work at changing it, it will transform. That's the good news about Mars and Scorpio, is if you just try to just do a little bit of work, it should change for you, especially because it's in a trine. It's not in any hard aspects. It's in a trine to that Jupiter in Cancer, so it can help you get on the right track about home. And it's in a trine even to the Saturn, which is in Pisces, and the North Node, which is in Pisces, which is all about our destiny. Right. So it's even in a stronger, and that trine is going to come together later on this week as Neptune bops on back. And I feel like this is going to make some strong emotional transformations. So I see we have a dark moon. Is the dark moon today? Monday?
Yeah.
Monday, Bright Hawk?
Monday, because Tuesday, the slut, you know that I just like to play with numbers. So the screenshots are for 11/11.
You want to unmute?
Sorry, thank you. The screenshots are for 11/11 Boulder, but tomorrow's chart is for the new moon, which happens in the morning, right? Let's go ahead and move that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the new moon happens basically Tuesday morning, 6:25 in Boulder. Adjust for whatever your time zone is. And that's when it's the moon in Libra. They're both in the last degrees of Libra. Last new moon we had was the last degrees of Virgo. This time it's the last degrees of Libra. And this chart, when you look at it and you think about what I just said, and definitely learn this from Nadia Shah. I want to give props where props are due. When a planet is at 0 or at 29, that's when it's at its most potent. All of us notice it. All of us feel it when it comes into the sign and when it goes out of the sign. Look at how many things in this chart are at 0 or 29. You have Uranus at 0. You have Pluto at 1. You have Aries and Neptune now together again in Pisces. Actually, is that tomorrow? Yeah, one more day. Wednesday, that happens. So that's another one, Neptune. These are really, this is like planets at their most potent. Jupiter is exalted when it's in Cancer. Mars is in its rulership in Scorpio. This is some potent stuff. So if the energies feel like, whew, God, why is it, that's why. And what you're going to see this week is that blue triangle, giant triangle in the middle, will get closer and closer together until it becomes a grand trine in water, What does that mean? A grand trine in water, think about water. Water is the ocean of emotion, right? So we have Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio involved. And those are three different flavors of water, very different flavors. Hollis talked about Cancer being all about home, and they love their homes. Scorpio is very deep, very insightful. Pisces is the ocean of emotion, feels everyone, extremely empathetic. So they each have their own quality, and when those energies are coming together, and they're going to get stronger and stronger as we go through the week, pay attention to your emotions. What's worth seeing as an insight? What's maybe coming out wrong or too fast, or I need to think about that. And of course, we have this big new moon. So new moon in Libra. Libra is all about community and balance. Hollis has given a lot of great descriptions of Libra and how to lean into that energy. Those are the folks who are definitely going to be feeling this the most. And that yod is going to get stronger and stronger as the days goes on.
Yes.
Do you want me to talk about the finger of God, or you want to go into it?
Well, we can both talk about it.
So
I think it perfects on Wednesday.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that you have a void course moon on Tuesday in the early morning hours from 12:30 to 3:45 during the new moon. So what does that mean? When the new moon, when it's a new moon, it's a dark moon, right? It's the moon at its lowest energy, brand new and fresh, great opportunity to set new intentions, especially using the energies of Libra to ask for things for the greatest good of all, things that would be fair for everyone. Great energy for that. And then
Alexa, stop.
And then the sun and the moon, as the new moon energy, as that becomes like really strong, it's very interesting that it lines up to a yod, or a finger of God, which is two inconjuncts or quincunxes. That means 150 degrees. If you're like, what are you talking about? You know that opposition is 180 degrees, right? Halfway around the circle. 150 degrees is just 1/. So it's a difficult energy in the sense that you can't change it. You can pretty much just know that it's going on and go with the flow, or recognize that you're being called in a certain way and don't resist. Don't sabotage it. Don't second guess it. Be grateful for the insight, the nudge, the go that way, do that thing, join that person. You just had a conversation about something, and then a validation from spirit just boom happens in the next hour. Something comes up and you're like, whoa. That kind of energy is what a finger of God can feel like. And you have Uranus, which we just talked about. It's retrograde in Gemini, but it's at 0, which means it's intense in Gemini at 0. And then, of course, the other side of the inconjunct is the Neptune at 0, which is its last second at 0. And then it's going to be 29 in Pisces. So that finger of God, yep, there you go. On Wednesday, Neptune is now stepped back into Pisces. And Neptune, of course, rules Pisces. It's the modern ruler of Pisces. And now you have really interesting scorpionic energies, because you have the moon joining Mars and Mercury in Scorpio. And you have the sun still holding that space with the finger of God, because now everybody's at 29 or 0. So it just keeps getting more intense. So we're pointing at Libra, which gives me hope, frankly, because it points at justice. Libra represents justice. Everybody knows the
Fairness, yeah.
and the fairness, the scales of justice, and doing what is right. It's a high integrity sign. And so that gives me hope, especially following this No Kings protest and the millions of people who showed up. I've heard numbers like 7 million people total. I don't know. I think that number could still keep growing as they figure out the counts worldwide. But yeah, it's important.
Yeah, for sure.
So go for
And I looking at that yod, this is where Neptune goes into Pisces on Wednesday.
Mhm.
So you may not feel it exactly on Wednesday. And let me just say, it's going to be there for a while. It's finally rejoined Saturn. They are a few degrees apart, but they've kind of been hanging out together since earlier this year. And that's why we feel like we're peeling off skins of in our administration, because Saturn represents the system and Neptune is about visions and dreams, but when it's retrograde, it tends to be about lies and delusions. And so that's kind of why every time Saturn and Neptune kind of separate a little bit, we get a little bit more of the truth. And this is what I'm talking about with the great reveal, because Saturn and Neptune are traveling together. And every time they come together, it might increase the lies and the illusions and delusions. And then once they start going forward again, that's also going to be part of the reveal, right? And then Saturn's going to move under Neptune later on in the year, and it's going to go beyond into Saturn. They're both going to move into Saturn together, and then they're both going to move into Aries, and Saturn's going to take off. But the thing is that we're not done with that transit yet. We're still in the great reveal. Okay. And so that's probably not just it. You want to look, where is Pisces in your chart? Does Pisces have to do with children? Does it have to do with romantic relationships, your creative endeavors? But either way, Saturn and Neptune are going to try to put you on your path. They're going to try to reveal stuff to you. The problem with it in Pisces, especially with Neptune retrograde, is you might have a tendency or a desire to block it out or to pretend it's not there, to push it away, to be in denial. Try not to do that, okay? And I feel like with Neptune moving from Aries to Pisces, because Neptune is in its rulership, it might kind of pop your bubble a little bit about a delusion or a vision or some sort of denial that you've been in. All of a sudden, you're going to go, oh my God. Okay. Some of us will get there faster than others, depending on our own personal placements. Some people, it might happen earlier in the week. Some people, it may not happen until Thursday, Friday, Saturday, depending on how much fixed energy you have in your chart. That's why it's good to understand if you have cardinal signs, fixed energy, or mutable. So if you're more cardinal, you tend to be up in the front. You tend to be one of the people, and it doesn't always mean you're good. Like, people are like, oh, you're fast, and like imply that that's a good thing. I'm just going to say from experience, it's not always a great thing. I'm just saying, sometimes you get out front and you're like, shit, now I got to wait for everybody else to get here. And and you're like, ah, man, right? Okay. And let me just say, it's pointing to the Libra the Libra sun. And that's exactly, Libra is cardinal. It gets there fast. Libra knows what's fair. Libra knows what should be done. And once they realize it, they usually do it. So that's the part that has to be engaged, right? So when Neptune moves from Aries into Pisces, you might get a trigger in that direction. You might suddenly see what needs to be done. Where is Libra in your chart? Where is it in your chart? is it in the house of, is it in the 12th house? Is it in the first house? Is it in the 5th house? Right. And so this is where it's going to try to trigger some major part of your, of maybe whatever, especially if you have a placement in late degree Libra. Okay. Now, the thing is that it's also, not only is it pulling from that 29 degrees where Neptune moves back into Pisces, but Uranus is 0 degrees back there in Gemini, going backwards, headed back towards Taurus, asking us to review our life, asking us to review our life plan. And because Uranus rules your life plan, it rules your life path. And sometimes if you're not on your life path, it will come along and kick shit out of the way. It will be like, this isn't working. I told you to change this. And it's almost like, oh, I was in denial. Okay. And that's how Uranus works. Okay. So Uranus kind of will come and knock the table over. So the two of them, Neptune in Pisces with Saturn in Pisces with Uranus and Gemini, they're in what we call a sextile. So that means it's going to come together easily. Now people are like, oh, that's a blessing. And I'm like, well, it just means that it's going to come, they're going to put away their differences and come and make things come together easily and create this challenge that has to do with the Libra, okay, with the Libra part of who you are. So what piece of the pie is that for you? Take a look at that. Be aware of that. I would stay open to any insights you have. Try to listen to those insights with Pisces, with Neptune and Pisces. I would absolutely listen to anything that comes through. Like I would just assume it's true, because I find that when Neptune moves signs or directions, we get like these, like someone turned on a light bulb or something, and all of a sudden you can read the print on the paper. And you couldn't read it before, but now you can. And that's pretty much how Neptune works, especially because it's with Saturn. Because Saturn is not just our system, our government, but it's also, isn't this how Donald Trump does his hands? Our system, our government. Okay, sorry, I'm just making fun of myself. Okay, and then, but it also has to do with your personal system. Okay, so that's like your foundation, who you are and how you function. And that must be in your 5th house. Sorry, it's in whatever house it is. Is it in your 5th house? That's children, that's romantic relationships. If it's in your 2nd house, that's about money. If it's in your 6th house, it's in your day-to-day life. So you can always tell the house by looking at the number circle in the middle. And there should be numbers 1 through 12. They're kind of in the middle of each slice of the pie. And that's where you want to look. You want to see, where is Pisces? Where is 29 degrees Pisces? Each sign only goes to 30 degrees. So you want to look at, where's 29 degrees Pisces? What house is that in? And that's going to dictate to you what's about to change. That's going to dictate to you the insight that you're about to have. Okay. And the Uranus retrograde will also speak to that. Okay. Where is Uranus retrograde? Where is that? Where is Gemini? Okay. And so you want to take a look and see, where's 0 degrees Gemini, because that's where Uranus is speaking to. It's going to go back into Taurus, and then it's going to go direct into Gemini for like the next 10 years. Neptune will be, I think it's in 8 years or something like that. In Aries, Saturn will spend the next couple of years in Aries, and then it's going to boogie on out. Okay. So, but they are going to separate next year. So if you feel frustrated with not knowing everything, that's part of the great reveal, I think. And I think this yod is really important for anyone that has those late degree placements, anything in late degree Libra, late degree Pisces, and even late degree Taurus and early degree Gemini. It's going to really affect you. There might be some really great stuff coming together easily if you have any placements in Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces, because that grand trine is also coming together at the same time. And so I feel like even if you're challenged with something, if something starts to come together easily, it might feel like you don't want to trust that, but I think you should, okay? Because that grand trine is going to make some things come together easily, especially around emotions, okay? Especially around feeling, especially about how we feel about things and how we feel about each other. Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces is all about relationships. Emotions are usually about relationships, in case you haven't noticed. And with the yod pointing to Libra, that makes it about relationships. Okay. Libra is a very important part of relationships. It very much dictates how you do relationships if you have any placements in there. So you should pay attention to that. And so if you're discovering something this week, that's how I think you should navigate it. Listen to your insights, listen to any awarenesses, any aha moments. When Neptune's on the move, that's when it's moving signs or moving directions, we always have aha moments. I do every single time. And I don't even have strong Pisces placements, which is where Neptune rules. Neptune rules Pisces. And my Neptune, I mean, it's well placed, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's my strongest planet, for sure not, actually. And so I'm just saying that, like, if you happen to have Pisces placements or something, you're probably going to have an aha moment. And so I want you to not dismiss that. Don't deny it. Don't sweep it under the carpet, even if it's uncomfortable to talk about. Okay. You got to talk about it anyway. All right. Because it's very important part, I think, of this week, especially because Mercury and Mars are in Scorpio and the moon's there also on Wednesday. So that's going to just heighten that's going to heighten the emotions, I think. It's going to make it more intense. And so you got to just listen to that. And we don't have another void. Do we have another void moon in the week, Bright Hawk? Maybe Thursday.
Well, we sure do. Glad you brought it up, because we have a void that goes from Thursday night into Friday. The moon moves out of Scorpio into Sagittarius. And look at how the lines that we've been looking at all week start to get darker and darker. That means they're getting stronger and stronger. And so now you see the yod is even stronger, the grand trine is now perfecting, and the energy is coming together. And at the same time, the moon is like, because when the moon is in the void, it's when it's in the in-between. And so it doesn't have a lot of energy. So we've been having a conversation on Rainbow Soulstrology about how do you experience the void moon? We talk about it, so you can put in the comments, hey, I really noticed it this week. I was, my day was just foggy or whatever. So sometimes Hollis experiences the void moon as a wet blanket. Yeah. Just can't be productive. Sometimes the void moon can mean you're very productive because there's not all this emotional chaotic energy, and it's easier to focus and get it done. So I'm starting to really pay attention to, is the moon moving out of what element into what element? I find that to be even more of an indicator of how the void might feel. So going from a water sign to a fire sign, a little different energy there. Yeah. So there's a void of course moon on Thursday, and I'm just going to jump ahead. I think it's Sunday that it's void almost all day. I believe so. Yes. And there's a void of course moon all day Sunday. At least this is Mountain Time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. basically. And that's, of course, when the moon is going to move out of Sagittarius into Capricorn. But not to get too far ahead of ourselves, we were on Thursday, I believe. And Thursday night, so if you work the night shift, hopefully it makes for a quiet night for you. Let us know. I'd love to know. And yeah, intense energy that's forming in Scorpio now. The sun has stepped into Scorpio on Thursday. Happy birthday to our Scorpio friends. So now it's Scorpio season is, got a different vibe than Libra season. Very intuitive. We know it's the time where it's the thinning of the veils, the time of Samhain, the harvest, the, changing from sort of things dying down, getting harvested or being brought down before the first snows fall in a lot of places. So yeah, welcome to Scorpio season. Go ahead, Hollis. You know all about Scorpio since you're a Scorpio rising.
Oh my goodness, do I? Okay, so the other thing about the sun in Scorpio at 0 degrees is, check it out. Look, it's in a square to Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius. And Pluto just went direct last week, right? And maybe you felt it, definitely felt it in the protests. Okay, maybe you noticed it. Maybe you noticed suddenly you knew which way to go. Suddenly you had a good idea of what direction to go. Maybe you suddenly had a bright idea or something like that. With the sun in Scorpio in a square, it could be something challenging. The reason I'm pointing to that is because if you check it out, the yod is still pointing up to that sun when it moves from Libra to Scorpio. And the sun in Scorpio like that is going to maybe intensify your journey. It could speed things up. It could make things happen really fast, is what I'm going to say, because Scorpio tends to be fast, even though it's the fastest of all the fixed signs, for sure. If you've ever watched a scorpion move, they are very fast. Okay, and they'll bite you before you even realize what happened. They'll be running away before you even realize what happened, and they're very intense little creatures, and that's why Scorpions represent Scorpios, because Scorpio is actually, of all the water signs, I'd say is also the most intense. It is the deepest and the fastest, I think, because Mars rules it. Okay. Mars is a very fast moving planet, and it's its traditional ruler. Now, Mars also rules Aries, and Aries tends to be very fast, frankly. Okay. I think that's something that Scorpio and Aries have in common, is that they're very fast. And sometimes too fast. Okay. Sometimes you ever do something too fast and then go, oh, I did that too fast. Okay. So we all do that. Okay. And, but this could be, something comes up that, could suddenly change things in a really big way for you, especially with that yod pointing up there. Maybe it has something to do with what you've been dealing with this week. And it's in a square to Pluto there. And I feel like for the protests and for our government, this could be a challenge that maybe protesters, if you're protesting ICE or something like that, be careful. Because there will probably be some intensity with all those planets in Scorpio. This is part of what sometimes can make Halloween feel really intense. When there's a lot going on in Scorpio and the sun's in Scorpio, do you ever notice that, like, sometimes, like, you might think it's in your head because everybody's walking around with costumes and stuff. Like, yesterday I went to a protest. It always freaks me out when people come to a protest with like murderer masks on, like Michael Myers or something like that. Because I don't know, like, I'm like, why are you covering your face? And it just makes me anxious. Okay. And it doesn't even matter if I'm at a protest or any kind of public event. Like, I'm just like, I don't know why, right? And I think it's maybe because you can't see their face or something. And it kind of freaks me out a little bit. Okay. And I didn't have anything happen to me as a kid. And I don't know. But I feel like it happens to kids, when you go trick or treating. Sometimes little kids get a little freaked out by people in masks. And I don't think it's just the masked energy. I don't think it's just because you're seeing people in costumes and you can't really see their facial features or their their facial expression, which is sometimes a body language from afar without speaking to someone. But also, I think there's a level of intensity in the air. And that's really what Halloween and Samhain are all about. And let me just take this moment to let you know that, this is Scorpio season. If you're feeling really intense, I just want to let you know, or if you're grieving someone who has passed, or you're going through some really intense stuff, I have started Mystics Academy it's on my Patreon. You can totally find Mystics Academy, patreon.com/Mystics Academy. And it is powerful in that I just did almost an hour-long teaching video that's for members only. You have to be a novice member, novice mystic, and I teach all about why it's such an intense time of year. It's not just the astrology, but the astrology definitely contributes and reflects what we're feeling here. And so, and I've always felt it. I've always noticed it. Maybe you have too. But look at all those planets in Scorpio, along with its ruler, Mars. We got the sun, we got Mars, we got Mercury and the moon, all up there in Scorpio. And the sun is in a square to Pluto. And that's just going to get more intense later on through the weekend. So I feel like this weekend we might feel a little bit of a challenge going on there. Try to work through that challenge, try to transform, try to embrace the Scorpio energy. I feel like the more you embrace the Scorpio energy, the better off you'll be, because Scorpio is going to change you and get you on your path faster. And that's what Uranus and Neptune and Saturn are trying to do anyway, right? So the universe is always working in your benefit. It's always trying to push you onto your path. Sometimes we miss our path. Sometimes we forgot to take a right. And so they're just going to try to push you over so you can get back on your path. The universe is always trying to help you. You just have to listen. You just have to tap in and pay attention to what you're hearing and try to listen to those gentle nudges so that the gentle nudge doesn't have to turn into a whole shove push.
So one of the gifts of Scorpio is its spirituality. I cannot tell you how many spiritual leaders, let's just call them witches, because most of them are great friends, frankly, that are all Scorpio. I don't think that's a mistake. They make great spiritual leaders. They're very, very good at holding a real deep energy for people to grieve or do whatever they need to do so that we can go through the dark so we can get to the light. But Scorpio is not going to just jump to the light. That's Sag. I know I'm a Sag. So Scorpio is really, when you think about what's the answer to the intensity or the darkness, and if that brings up fear or anxiety, the answer to Scorpio's energy in that is lean into the spirituality. Lean into the deeper connection cosmically. That's, how big can you imagine and our place in the universe, so to speak. It's a very big, deep, cosmic, spiritual energy that is definitely one of its huge gifts. So if you ever have whatever come up, that's what I always try to look at in astrology, whether you have a lot of Scorpio energy or whatever it is. Each one, every single sign has this is the challenging side and this is the gift. This is the lean into this side. That's what I'm talking about with Scorpio. Lean into its spiritual gifts. There's a reason why we have big, high, holy holidays during this month.
And so I hope that you, if you enjoy astrology or you're interested in witchcraft or you're deep diving into the deep energies, I think this month we're doing a focus on Samhain and connecting to the other side, mediumship. And like today, Sunday, October 19th, when I'm recording this, we're doing a monthly meditation meeting where we'll do a meditation together and then kind of talk about how to sense those sensations and what to do with those and what makes sense and how do you read into this. Especially this month's meditation will be about connecting to spirits on the other side. And then we will also be having, I already released the teaching video to members in Patreon. And then, of course, there is also later on in the month, next week, actually on October 23rd at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. You'll have to convert that. There is a practice group where we'll be practicing our divination, because if you didn't know, but Samhain is a really great time to get a reading. It's a really great time to practice your own divination, to deep dive, because we're more connected to the other side. And this is one of the things that I go into the teaching video of how to increase your accuracy and how to do that. That's what I'm going to be going into, how to increase your accuracy, how to increase your self-confidence. And that's going to be, we're going to be going into that, into the divination on Thursday. And then on Friday, I'm just going to say, for you out there that have kids and you want to raise your kids in witchcraft, well, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to offer it. We have a Google Classroom. You're going to have a downloaded document today, actually Sunday, will be released to the families. And then probably Monday will probably be your video for kids. I'm recording videos for kids to learn about witchcraft. Yep. For homeschooled kids or even if they go to school, because I made it at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So maybe your kids are already home from school. It's on a Friday. Wear your costume. It's the week before Halloween. So it's a good time to test out that costume and tap in and help your kids understand the deeper meaning of Halloween. Not that it's just this, time that we dress up in costumes and go around and get candy. What's the deeper meaning, and why and how are we honoring our ancestors, and why is that important? I know that was important for me to teach my kids. Maybe that's important for you to teach yours. And so there is also a kids tier. And then there's a family tier, which is for if you're learning, you want to learn witchcraft, you want to learn how to connect to the other side, you want to be connected, then, you can get a family tier for you and your child. Okay. And siblings, they don't have to have separate accounts. You can bring both kids. I'm not trying to overcharge families. Okay. I know it's hard when you got more than one. And at the end of the month, if you get now there's another tier called a readings tier. If you're just interested in readings, you're like, Hollis, I don't really want to know how to do this myself. I just like to get your readings, Hollis. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, there's a readings tier. So you get to save money on your reading every month. And it's only $11 a month. Okay. It's $11.11 and you save $25 on a reading. So there you go. It's already worth it. But you also get an event called the seance. Okay. Or every event, every month we'll have a readings party of some sort. Okay. So this month will be a seance on October 31st. And I also want to mention that there's a teaching video, which I said, now, if you get the novice one, that's $37. And let me just say that you save $50 on a coaching package right away. Okay. So because you are my supporting members, the people that are going to join now, you're going to help me build this, and you lock in a low price because I'm going to build this. And I appreciate your support. That's what Patreon's about. This is about supporting people that you want to see grow. You want to see my message grow. You want to see more people have access to my message. This is how you do it. You support me in your monthly support, and this lifts up my message, and including I will be teaching astrology. You will end up, if you are in the Mystics Academy for a year, I promise you that you will be able to read your chart by the end of the year. Okay. You will have a good idea about astrology. I interweave it into all of my teaching videos. And in between the holidays, I will be teaching about astrology, about different zodiacs, about different parts of reading your chart. And I might even release At some point, I might even release our class, which is pre-recorded. Okay. Which is like a astrology 101 class, which you can still buy at my website right now. It's $150. Comes with 5 hours of instruction, and it comes with a bunch of cheat sheets and 2 coaching sessions. Okay, so it's total steal anyway. But if you're new to astrology and you're like, Hollis, I have no idea what my moon sign is, I don't even know how to do this, check out this beginner's guide. You can get that at our website too. At my website, divineandrogen.com. It's in the description. And you can, if you use the code LIVE50, you'll get 50% off of either that astrology 101 class I told you about, or this beginner's guide, which is just a couple dollars. I think it's like $2 or something after you use this thing. Okay. And then, and I think it might be $250. Okay. And then you get this downloaded guide, shows you how and where to get your free chart, how to read it, how to find your sun, moon, and rising, and what those 3 signs mean, and how to continue learning astrology, which is essentially, bring your chart, print it out, bring it to our live broadcast. Now, remember, we're going to release this on Sunday night. I'll also try to follow it up with all the horoscopes. And then right after that, we're going to, then on Monday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, we'll be live for your question and answer. All right. Let's do a quick card pool.
Well, I hope this new format is working for everyone. Do let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And if you have any questions, we're always happy to answer. And now that Hollis has a chance to go ahead and shuffle the deck, and it's always amazing to me how the tarot reflects the astrology and the messages sort of weave together. So hopefully that helps you in your week. And
all right, are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see here.
There you go.
So this first card is the Tower card. This is about things that have fallen apart. This is about parts of you that have somehow fallen apart, that maybe things have been a hot mess. What kind of hot mess you've been dealing with? Because that's what the Tower card is. It's about a hot mess. It's about the past. So it's something that's already happened or been happening, a consistent problem maybe. Tower is usually kind of a big consistent problem that's annoying, something that's really been falling apart over some time. And then this is the Hanged Man, which is right now, which is pretty much where you are now, which is pointing to choice. This is pointing about you not sure which way to go. Okay, the universe is saying it's okay to not know. It's okay to not know which way to go. That's what this universe is saying. The Hanged Man is very common in that it's very much about not knowing, and that there's some choices you have to make, but you're not sure which way to go. So it's okay to hang there for a little bit, okay? Just hang there for a little bit, because this is right around the corner.
Oh, wow.
This is the Sun card. This is like the best card you can get in any tarot card. I mean, most tarot decks, the Sun card's pretty amazing card. It's pretty much a blessing. It's a blessing in community. It's a blessing in being seen. It's a blessing in being celebrated, transformed, loved, and being able to be uniquely you, especially in the Love is Love Pride deck here. This is a very important card. So remember, whatever's fallen apart, just know that while that may have fallen apart, you're on to the right answer, and it's okay to not know which way you're going at this time. It's okay to stay hung, because don't worry about it. The universe is going to guide you in the direction that you belong. The rainbow, don't worry, you'll find the end of the rainbow.
Wow.
Which is pretty much what I said in the reading.
Wow. That was a really intense, oh my goodness, tarot reading. That's like 3 of the most powerful cards in the whole of tarot. The first 2 are the most that scare everybody to death. And I know that when I've had them show up in readings personally, it is holy crap. But what a great reading to end up with the sun in the future position. Oh, I don't know about you folks, but that was a really, really potent sign from the universe. Oh my goodness. I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for sharing and liking and commenting. It really is wonderful to hear from you. We hope you have a great week. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week. Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies and ready to work with them in your daily life. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps us reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need to hear it. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment, let us know what resonated most or what you would like covered next week. Your questions and feedback make our show better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! And catch us on Facebook and YouTube, where you can ask questions in real time and be part of our cosmic community as it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition, follow your inner wisdom, and remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.